You guys, thank you so much for taking the time out of your night to learn, to grow in this business, to connect with your tribe, to stay plugged in, to not be an island, and to stay focused even during a time. Hold on just a second. When people are getting super unfocused. How do I get her? Kelly Rodenhouse, somehow you became like a viewer. Here we go. There we go. People are getting super unfocused, with the end of summer and summit coming up and all of that stuff. But you guys are here and are sponges, and I'm excited for the message we have for you guys tonight. But before we get into that, I want to thank all of you guys for your text, your messages, all your encouragement and support on Monday. I just pictured you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing. So incredibly blessed to have such an incredible team of people. And I wouldn't be where I am today without you guys. I learn from you guys every single day by being surrounded by you guys. You guys challenge me to be better and to be a better leader. And so, hopefully that you felt like that was the voice of us as a whole, as a tribe, because I certainly didn't get here by myself. I know your hair does look good.
Oh, thank you.
Just said your hair looks good. I'm glad it's over. I'm not going to lie. I was nervous. I shake on the inside before I talk. And so, and it was,
you were drenched.
I was drenched when I was done. And I am thankful, don't get me wrong, for a platform such as that, but man, I am ready to push that to the side and dive into Summit with you guys. We've been doing Summit panels, sitting down with the 3 panels that we'll have at pre-Summit meeting. And I'm excited for you guys to hear these different groups talk and share, and we're going to mix in some fun, think newlywed game up in there. So it's going to be a really fun environment, you guys. I want you guys to lean in on Thursday morning and really kick it off right there by being a sponge and just bringing your passion, your excitement, because what you believe is what you can see, right? So if you walk in being like, oh, I'm nervous, the crowds make me nervous, or I'm shy, that's what you're going to be. Does that make sense? So this is remember, you're a professional, right? This is your business. You have a vision worth fighting for. So it's time to soak up every ounce of awesome, because we have not only 3 awesome panels that are going to share and be real and raw and out of their comfort zone sharing with you, but we have Scott Mann that is going to do 2 different sessions during that time period with you guys. Now, generally he only does 1. He's doing 2, and so he's going to be talking on belief and how to work through that, and it's going to be very interactive, and then he's going to be talking on skill set to take that and to put in action. It is the perfect flipping training to move us right into to the whole the grand opening and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be really, really cool. So something I want you guys to do with me, and even if you're at home, you can be on the same page with us, breadcrumb the same way we do about how you're excited for us. You can't wait to hear what's coming out of it and all that kind of stuff. I want everybody to do something with me. Are you guys willing to follow my feet? You guys willing to trust me on this one? I want everybody to either read or listen to the book Tribes together, because that's what it's about. You have to understand the book has changed my thinking on leadership 2.5 years ago. That, along with Lead for God's Sake. Maybe it was 3 years ago that I read it. I don't remember. It was a while ago. It's due time. Perfect timing to read, talking with Julie Voris and some of the other leaders, she is someone I respect, and she's like, let's do Tribes. And I said, I'm on it, and I'm going to sprinkle it right down into this team. Go in, focus. And the funny thing is that lines up so well with Scott Mann and the whole campfire feeling that we're going to have. We were just talking to, what's her name, Mary? Our event coordinator there, and how we're getting the campfire chairs and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so it goes right, because we become tribal. That's where we are tribal. You know what I mean? That's where that connection, that unity, that's vital to moving people into action. And that's what Scott's going to be talking about. And so we need to make sure we're all on the same page, and listen to it. Let it just marinate. Just let it become your focus as we move into Summit. You guys, leading up to Summit, that breadcrumbing, okay, talking about something. I just did a post with Ollie in his boots. Now that, I did not plan that. I was actually getting ready to post a picture of Chad Lang with, not Topper. Charlie. And then Chad walks by and he saw, I heard the clunking. I didn't know what it was. There's always some loud noise in this house. And Ollie had on my boots for Summit that I had brought down for Country Heat and all that kind of stuff. And of course I was like, wait, I need my camera. So took a picture, and that's breadcrumbing, that kind of stuff, breadcrumbing Country Heat and talking about it, and talking about packing and getting ready, and you're listening to tribes because you're about to see your tribe. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, from a very real, genuine heart, okay, as to what you're going into, not that salesy aspect that you'll see some people do. So let's get focused, you guys. We are professionals, okay? We are professional business owners. Every single one of us are leaders, right? And our teams are going to feed off of us, right? When we go in there, what you believe, I talked about this on the National Wake Up Call, is what is going to bleed right into your team, whether you're there or not. Okay, so if you're not there, you can't change anything. So let's go ahead and get over it. Stop complaining. Plan for the next Danny event. Not the one that's 6 or 7 months from now, the next one. Get around your tribe, and so that you can grow and learn and be surrounded instead of an island. But you can't do anything about the fact that you're not at Summit. But what you can do is that you can still engage. You can still breadcrumb. You can still talk about the event. You can still be a part of the tribe. Does that make sense? All right, a couple shout outs before we hand it over to our amazing speaker time. Super excited. I'm going to share with you how we actually get our speakers in a second, because I think it's pretty cool. But I got a few shout outs, and this isn't going to come from a document. I did a shout out today on those that have finished Like a Boss training, because that is like my heart. You know what I mean? The results and all that I know will come. It is the part of the recipe. I know it will come as long as you remain teachable. Right? That first part, how do you become good at something? You're very, very consistent at the things, at following the feet of people that have come before you. And how do you become great? Is you humble yourself to always remain teachable. So I don't care if you're 4-star, 5-star, 6-star, you're always learning. And Like a Boss is somewhere that you can learn, that you can use, that you can share with your team. You know what I mean? To take some of the pressure off you so that you're all on the same page. Does that make sense? So did that shout out today. These are some other shout outs that I saw forming in different groups that we're a part of. So the first one I want to talk about is Layla. Layla Edwards has been how long? Over a year. February was a year of what's it called? Danny, right? Really? Layla?
No, it's more than that.
No, over a year in February. So I don't know how many. If she's on here, I'm not sure how many she has been to.
Oh, well, I know. I think it's well over a year, because she went to that one when we were out in Palm Springs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was February. This February was a year,
really? Oh.
Right? And so February 2015. Okay. And so he's watching her grow, like we've talked about it before. You know what I mean? But to see like her sharing in the Danny group about how she has been just from the get-go with her new job, thriving and forming and adding value, and she's getting raises and promoted without ever even asking, all from those skills. It just makes my heart like smile, just makes my heart smile. And even just to know that she was just with, brought her brother with her to the last thing, it's just absolutely incredible. She's never made any excuses. She's always there. She's always growing. She's always engaged. She's always humbling herself to say, this is what I need to work on. Crap, this is what I did wrong. You know what I mean? I mean, that is leadership, because none of us are perfect. We're all, the best leaders know how to fall on their sword right away and say, crap, I messed up. I'm sorry.
And we've seen her stumble and fall and get
right back up.
And we've seen her become the light for people like her brother, and improving relationships with her mom.
Yeah.
And it's just some crazy stuff.
Yeah, not fighting with her mom at all since she's been home taking care of her mom. It's just incredible. And just to hear that she is, reaping what she's been sowing at this new job, that deserves a shout out. Melissa, where do I start with this? Melissa O'Brien. Okay, I just want to give her a shout out because, she's this natural leader. When she's in, fire. Like absolute, like incredible, right? And so there's been that in, that out, that in, that out. And she like drew the line not too long ago. She like drew that line in the sand and she was like, I'm in. And when she said it, she went, right? And she started doing Like a Boss training. She hooked it up with her team. You know, she set up like a Zoom call with all of us that's on Thursday from her team to really dig in. I mean, she went in, you know, she took that tap, stepped into that leadership position, and it just makes me smile to see her thriving in such an amazing way, you know? And that's stuff that doesn't always show up right away. She will reap that harvest for sure, but it's that behind the scenes stuff that we don't always see. Jana Martin, I see you on here. A shout out for Jana, because she stepped in when she was like, you know what, I'm going to run a group for the people that are, you know, want to help each other out with Like a Boss training. She didn't wait for me to do it. That's good, because I wasn't going to, you know what I mean? Instead, she saw a need and she stepped into it. You know what I mean? That's leadership. See, I got these very direct instructions from my mentor this past weekend, and she said top level leadership needs to shut up, sit down, and be quiet. I said, well, okay, you know what I mean? I knew she was talking to me. She talked to me about it at lunch and then said it from the stage. I was like, I loud and clear, Danny, I got you. So I did, and Jana, bam, stepped up and went. So girl, I got to high five you. That's absolutely incredible. Robin, you're on here. I know you're on here, girl. Chad and I did a happy dance today for Robin when we saw her post in the Danny group about how, you know, her house had been on the market. It's in not such a good neighborhood. Nothing was moving. It wasn't moving. She knew she had to come to Danny to work through some things. She went home, worked on her budget, looked in a different price range for houses, gave 10% of her income in June to a cause, and then boom, she's in contract. Then she got a check from the dental insurance. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then what did she said the old Robin would have went out and spent it. What did she do? She paid something off. That's leadership, man. That's leadership in the household. That's, you know, she is sowing some awesomeness. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. And last but not least, Jessica and Mike Laparo were with us at the last Danny, and they paid off their car today. Just like that. How long ago were we at? 10 days ago? Yeah. 10 days ago. Just made that decision. How freaking awesome is that? So I wanted to give them a shout out, because that was a decision. That was just a decision that they made, and boom, paid it all off. I mean, and these are things that you don't see, right? It's like Danae, who hasn't necessarily increased her income in this business, but they have more in savings than they'd ever have, paying off things. Was it the last credit card, Danae, that you said, or the last something you recently paid off from the things that she's learned through Danny?
Is it 2018, or is that, I know
that is Christy Vincent made that goal to be done by 2018 with her mortgage, right? Kelly Rodenhouse is this close. Your husband's last debt. That's what it is. You know, Kelly Rodenhouse is this close to having her mortgage paid off. Just a lot of awesome things going on that we don't see, that's not connected to rank. You're not going to see them hop across the stage at Summit or anything like that, but they are freaking leading like amazing. Like things that you can't take rank to the bank. You know, I feel that way. But this right here, what they are learning through leadership, what they are sowing right now, they are going to reap an amazing harvest. So I wanted to make sure that I gave them, you know, credit where credit was due, because you guys blow my mind, and I think you're absolutely incredible. So thank you for you guys leading by example, you know, even when the spotlight's not on you, and staying true and consistent with what you knew you needed to do. So I'm proud of you guys. All right, you guys, here we go. I'm going to have you guys off by 9:45. You want to know how I know that? Because Cheri is talking tonight.
Oh, I figured out how you're going to do that now. Okay.
And she is always on time and done. So, you guys, this is what I wanted to share with you guys. How we end up with our speakers is we have sign-up sheets that'll go out, and I'll send them out, and I'll let people step into leadership. Does that make sense? Instead of waiting for me to ask, I'm looking for people that are like, like, you know, it's that reluctant leadership. We're like, no, fine. Do you know what I mean? And you jump in, and that's how we've been getting our speakers, and it's been absolutely flipping amazing. So tonight, you guys are in for a treat. I was looking over her notes and reading through them. We didn't need to jump on the phone because they were so well organized for me. I love it. And I'm excited that she's here on the topic of being unsinkable, and she's going to give you those tips. But first, I want you guys to hear her story, guys. She's a 4-star diamond coach. She runs and has ran a childcare business for the last 10 years. She has, which I did not know this, 7 kids, including her stepchildren, and she has adopted Sophia, her little girl, And she's just has been just through the ups and downs and the arrows that have been thrown at her. You know, she has continued to put one foot in front of the other. I think sometimes we don't hear that kind of stuff. We think that maybe we're the only ones with arrows being thrown at you. And sometimes it's nice to hear what other people are going through and how they have worked through it. So that's what I have for you guys tonight. Cheri, you ready, girl?
I'm ready. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Hold on. Let me pin your video real quick.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead real quick. Fill them in. I'll kind of give them your 60 second story for me.
Okay. Well, I had a lot of issues coming in as a coach because I was in an abusive marriage for over 10 years. So when I signed up as a coach, I had no self-worth, no self-value, zero confidence. And I went for it. I went all in about 3 months after I signed up, and I have fallen on my sword, as Summer just said, a million times. I have failed 5 million times. And it's taken a long time for me to get to where I am, and I'm still growing. But I'm excited to share with you guys tonight because there were many times I thought about quitting, but I always kept going because I love this business and this tribe.
Here's the cool thing, you guys. I think you guys heard me talk about this if you listen to the National Wake Up Call, that failure is part of the equation. You know, unfortunately, in our society, we avoid failure, we avoid discomfort. But like I said, when I told you guys, my whole game plan was to fail Janelle Summers by 90%. When I heard Danny share that mindset, I was like, well, hell, I just heard, Janelle hit 7. I can fail her and hit 6. Absolutely. She's ripped. I'm not. She's, Shalene's her sister. Shalene is not mine. You know what I mean? She's a turbo kick, presenter. I am not. You know what I mean? She's rocking social media. I do not. But I can fail her by 90%. So my equation of success, and yours should, and Cheri's has to include failure, as long as you're willing to learn through it and overcome it. So Cheri, why don't you tell everybody what kind of impact Danny has had on you in the since last. You went one other time, but this was your last one. And this is, you guys understand, Cheri opened a group again. We started Dirty 30, Kessa Hawkins, Renee Schnurley, a couple others about 4 years ago after a Danny event, and it made its another debut here recently, and it is just on fire with people sitting pictures of themselves in teddies. I mean, they are dusting off, washing their teddies, and hanging from the chandelier. You know what I'm saying? And Cheri opened that. Cheri, why did you open that?
It's crazy, because if you would have told me I'd open that before I went to Danny in Cleveland, I would have told you you were just you've hung from the chandelier too many times. So my husband's my best friend. We've been best friends. We have fun together. We do stuff every weekend. I'm just going to be open and honest. We didn't have sex very often. Gotta kind of say it quietly. He's out there. Passion was gone. Gone. We were best friends. We were roommates. We had each other back in every way. But I might as well have been living with a female. I mean, so I went to Danny and I started hearing all this stuff. I'm like, I remember wanting to be with him 24/7. I drove 50 miles to see him because we lived so far apart. And I'd get up at 4 a.m. when my kids were at their dad's to go to work because I wanted to spend the night with him. I know it's terrible, but I did it. So all that stuff I did. And then now I was not making time to show him I love him by something that's so important. So I came home and I'm like, Summer, we need that group because I need help. And wow. I mean, and it's been 7 days. And we've had sex more in 7 days than we have in probably 7 years, at least in 2 years, no lie.
That is awesome. I think a whole lot of other people are in the same boat as you since you opened it.
I was just telling Summer you look different, so it must be.
She's glowing. I wrote that down just now. I'm taking notes. Your smile is huge. You are glowing. You look happy. I mean, look at this is what sex is.
Hey, I had my butt slapped for the first time last week since I was 20 years old.
I love it! And I can't wait to get off this call because, High five. Okay.
All family here.
We are. It is the most hilarious thing when I go to events, and it's it was awkward at first, but to get high fives from husbands. You know what I mean? Because we talk very openly, I'm very blunt about hanging from your chandelier. And now it's all over the
I believe
network.
Cheri took it to she just raised the bar.
She did. I mean, and I love it. We're all being challenged. Yes, Chad fell off the chair. All right, girl. We could probably talk about this topic all night long, but it's not your topic's unsinkable, not hang from the chandelier. So
I'm not quite there yet. Give me 6 months.
All right, girlfriend, let's hear it.
Okay. So I have my notes, so I'm gonna be looking down, so I don't want to forget anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I said, I have failed my team more in the past 4 years than I have helped them. And I'm okay with that, especially after going to Danny, because I've asked their forgiveness and we have these relationships again. And had I not have been open, I don't think we'd be where we are today. So I have 5 tips because I don't want you guys to quit. So like last year, I had a lot of business problems. We all do. I had to go to court for custody of Sophia. That wasn't easy. My 17-year-old daughter was battling with suicidal thoughts and cutting. Like there were so many real life reasons, but I wanted to quit and just go throw my hands up and say, I'm done. I give up. But I kept that vision in front of me and that why in front of me, and I stayed with our team. So I kept going. And these 5 things have helped me tremendously. The first one was toss your ego. Wow, my ego could not have fit in my house time last year. Summer's laughing because she knows. Like, I could do it better than anybody. So I didn't listen to Summer. I didn't listen to Danny Johnson. I didn't listen to anybody. I had my own team page that ended up being the Cheri Show because I was the only one posting.
I love your realness. I do.
Hey, I'm just being honest. It was a Cheri Show. I micromanaged everybody. I knew what your bank account was. I knew what mine was, and I still didn't listen to you because my ego was so big that I wanted to do it better, faster, stronger. So I was failing. So that's helped so much going to Danny because now I don't have any ego. Like I will stand at Summit in front of 25,000 people and say, I failed for 4 years, guys. I'm sorry, but now I'm learning. So
how isn't that freeing, Cheri, to be able to be like, dang, I can just be me, and it's not like the end of the world if I screw up. I don't gotta hide it. I don't gotta put up any walls. I gotta cover it up. Just totally sucked that one. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it takes a lot of pressure off.
Yeah.
A lot of the times when I wanted to quit, it was because I felt all this pressure, but I was the one putting the pressure on me because I felt like I had to be perfect, and I wasn't listening to anybody. Immerse yourself, and this goes with that same one, immerse yourself in PD. So like I've read PD for a few years, but I read it, and how many of you do that? You read it because you're supposed to read it, but you don't do anything about it. So I started like reading, listening. I don't listen to music anymore. About 9 months ago, I started this because everything kind of sucked. So I thought, let's really give this a try. So like in my Jeep, I always have a podcast. Sophia is going to grow up and she may not do it, but she's going to know what to do. I have my sound bot in my shower. My husband, he never knows if it's going to be Summer or Danny because there's always going to be one of them two playing in the background when he's cooking and Sophia and I are just playing because I can still hear it. So like, that's huge. That helps you get rid of your ego because they'll both tell you have an ego. It's like they're like in my shower or Danny's like, what? Are you looking at me? Like, how do you know I do that? And my team suffered because of that ego. They suffered bad. The second tip I have is follow the recipe. Kind of goes along with that. So Summer has these amazing scripts. Guess what? Cheri didn't use them for 3 years and 10 months. Yeah, you may hate me when we get off this call.
No.
So, the scripts I used, they worked to a point. I helped a lot of people. I have an amazing team. I reached 4-star diamond. I have a good income, but I didn't know anybody. Like I had challengers, I had coaches. I knew what challenge pack they ordered, but I didn't know why because I didn't follow her scripts to find out more. And I'm Ruby Emerald, so that can come across as very cold when I'm not cold. I have a big heart. I just don't always know how to say it and how to ask the right questions. So I started using Summer scripts just a month ago. And last month I helped 6 people start their journey. And that's more than I've helped. I always help 3, but 6 is double that. So like imagine if I had shut up and followed her recipe for 4 years, where I'd be right now. And don't tweak them, like they work. And I told Summer this when I first started using them. some of her questions, tell me more about that. How does that make you feel? I'm like, my emerald self is like, nobody's going to answer that. So I'm like, this is stupid. But I did it because she told me to do it. And people have opened up, and I know why. And like, I'll be honest, some days it's sad because of what they trusted me with to tell me. And I love that. I love that. So,
that is cool, isn't it, Cheri? When they start to tell you, like, okay, so I was talking to somebody that, and it was actually Danny. So she was saying how that high that she gets from when she closes somebody, like used to, back when she used to run a business like we do. And like at the lunch, everybody got super fired up. And I was like, okay, do I pretend to be fired up, or, you know what I mean? But I just kind of sat back. I'm always a quiet one. And I thought to myself, like, I get fired up. Like when I get a high off of it is when someone starts opening up to me. I get so excited when someone opens up to me. Let me tell you why. And Cheri, this might be the same with you. When they start to open up, I know that even if they don't say yes right this second, that when they do, they'll know I care and they'll stay with me longer. Your invites become your challengers become your coaches become your leaders. The sooner you can make that Scott Man, that, that connection, that lean in connection, people stick with you because they know your heart. Are you noticing that, Cheri?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they know that you care, and you're not just there for some sale, that you care enough to ask those questions. But from my emerald point of view, that was hard. So following the recipe was a must for me, because I was like, what's your needs? What's your goals? What's your restrictions? Okay, here you go. And that was, honestly, that was it, Summer. I didn't ask them how they felt. I cared. I just didn't know how to ask that.
Yeah, totally. And I love that you're sharing how you just went, it was simple, right? You just drew the line in the sand and said, this is what I'm doing. And you started doing it and it started changing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You guys have to understand that Cheri did not say she uses the scripts and then when she gets into the why, she lets them walk all over her. That would, Pearls, I'm talking to you. Okay, Pearls, the ones that don't want to require Shakeology ever. You know what I mean? Because here's the deal, and I'm going to take y'all back up to number one with ego. When you let them walk all over you and make excuses, and you're not willing to kind of share the whole recipe, you're actually not doing it because of them. You're not doing it because you love them. You're doing that because you love yourself, your ego, and your fear of judgment. That's it. You're actually, by not going in and requiring it, you're actually feeding your own ego. And look, did the numbers go down? Did people start logging off? Just kidding. That I had to learn. That's the first thing since I'm Pearl I learned. I was the one sending Shakeology for free to people. Libby Wilson's on here, right? She was one of them, and what did Libby do? Nothing for 2 years. Nothing for 2 years. So, okay. Sorry. Now, are you still on Follow the Recipe?
No. Nope. Next one.
Okay, cool.
Teachable. That's a big one, and these all kind of go together. So, again, Danny is huge because no matter what you are, she's going to talk to you. I can't believe I waited 3 years to go back. Like, it won't happen again. It just won't. I want to go every 6 months is my goal. So find a mentor. So like it can be anybody. It can be John Maxwell. It can be Summer. It can be Danny, Tracy Morrow, someone you relate to. Just make sure, like at Danny, when she talked about find someone who has what you want. So like, I wanted to hang from the chandeliers. I wanted to have the income to close my daycare doors, to have that time freedom with Sophia. So I follow Summer. So I want what Danny has. I want to be able to travel with my family if I want to. So I follow Danny. Melanie Mitro, I relate to her. She's got little kids. I love how real she is. I follow her. I used to follow people that followed shiny things, and then I follow the shiny things. So you have to find someone that you can allow you to teach you, but make sure that they're teaching you what you need to be taught. Not necessarily what you want to be taught, what you need to be taught. Be open. This is with that. When you're being taught, be open to constructive criticism. And this is one, my coach, Jen Yoder, she knows this is like was my biggest downfall when it came to being teachable, because we would talk and she'd say, okay, don't get mad. And I'd always wonder, why is she so sweet? She wasn't sweet. Well, she is sweet, but she knew I was going to get mad because I was very quick to take offense. So when you're being taught, you have to make sure that you listen and you have an open mind and an open heart, because if someone teaches you something and you just ignore them because your heart is cold and shut off, then you're not being teachable. And it's really hard to grow. And I didn't grow for about 2 years because I wasn't teachable. It's amazing the difference in 3 months I've made in my business and my personal life because I was teachable, and I'm thankful for that. And then number 4.
That's good. No, hold on. Let's stop there for a second. I want to give everybody a tip on something I did. And I don't know, Cheri, I don't think you ever did this because we weren't as connected. But if you have a couple coaches, and I mean trusted coaches, don't send it to your coaches that you know are going to, or anybody in your life that you know just are going to take that first. Like, this is a great opportunity then for them to tear you apart. That's not the kind of criticism or or feedback you want, but someone that you trust, a couple people that you trust, could be a coach, it's someone in your life that you know they're gonna do it with love. Send them a message and ask them to tell you 2 things they think you could do better and 2 things they think you do really well. Do this often so that you can learn not to take offense. See, we're programmed to take offense. You know, one of the best books for leadership I've ever read is The Bait of Satan. I've read it 4 times. I mean, the whole book's highlighted in different colors. Yeah, right?
It's kind of useless now.
I know. It's like when you look at it, it's like, well, the whole page is highlighted somewhere. So which part's important? I was like, the whole page. Read the whole thing. You know? But, you know, as you increase in leadership, you can't go to the next. If you're easily offended and fire back, you know, which it still happens to me sometimes. Let me give you an example in a second. But when you have to, if that happens continuously, you can't go to the next level of leadership. So let me give you an example. It still happens. So you think that I'm not just this perfect person walking around. I was heated. Ask Casey Wallace if she's on here after this incident at the pool. I was so pissed off. So the kids are playing Marco Polo. It was kind of loud. Casey is sensitive to it, so I get it. You were super close, right? And so she went over there to tell the kids to be quiet, to take it down a notch, but didn't bother me in the slightest that she was doing it. She could tell my kids to go stick their nose in a corner, and I'd be cool with it. It's that kind of thing, right? But this guy, this old grouchy man over on the side was like, thank you, like that. Like I just, inside of me, I wanted to jump out of the chair and give him a piece of my mind. But let me tell you what flew out of my mouth. Immediately, I said to him, don't thank me. I wouldn't have told him to be quiet. You know, just a total smart ass comment. Do you know what I mean? And I was mad. I was mad when I came home. I was mad. But I fell on my sword and text Casey right after I did it, you know, that I apologized, you know, for being so frustrated. You know, it wasn't polite of me in the slightest. So it still happens. But the more you are aware of that flaw, the faster you can fall on it. And that's the important piece. Can you fall on your sword? Can you recognize when maybe you were a little off? Because you can't go to the next level of leadership. I'm telling you what, people are going to piss you off in this business, or any business, in life, at school, in the PTO, and your teacher's going to not treat your kid the way you want. You know what I mean? And if you're always offended, you just can't thrive. And so that's a great one, Cheri.
Awesome. Yeah. And I was always offended. So I was always pissed off and no one liked me. And that's okay. I get that. That's a big one. Be consistent, number 4. So like, even when I sucked at everything else, I was consistent. So I guess that's the one good thing I could say about the last 4 years. So I've opened my doors every day. You will not see a day when I was not on my team page. You will not see a day that I didn't have 2 or 3 social media posts. Like, never. When I was sick, I had my cell phone in my hand and I had at least 2 posts. Because I always looked at it, even in the beginning, and I don't know why. I think I was just lucky that I looked at it this way. But like, so I used to work at State Farm eons ago when I was in my 20s. So I think of my laptop or my phone, that is my State Farm. So when you go to work at your company, if you don't go in the doors, you're not at work. So if I don't go on my social media page every single day, even on Saturday, even on a kid's birthday, even on vacation, even when I don't feel like it, then I'm not really working, because that's my storefront. That's my office.
Mm-hmm.
So you can schedule, well, if you have a like page, you can schedule. But if you can use, like, in the something people can use for personal pages.
What's that?
Is there like an app now you can use for personal pages to schedule, or no?
I don't think so. I don't do a lot of scheduling because I don't want dinged for it.
Yeah, and you know, when I used to schedule all the time, it was people couldn't relate to me because I wasn't in the moment.
Right. Yeah.
So it's much easier now to post what I'm doing when I'm doing it, because it's more real, because it is real. It's not planned on Sunday for next Thursday, which is what I used to do because I didn't care enough. So open your door.
Someone had a couple questions and I want to address them before you forget. You can, like, your Facebook is your kind of popularity wise, that's a bad word, I don't like that word, but that's all I can think of. Your affinity, you know, you're kind of like, whether your post shows up on people's news feeds has to do, there's an algorithm. Did I say that wrong? Algorithm? Algorithm or whatever, like that, deciding on whether your picture, your post, going to show up on my newsfeed or Cheri's newsfeed or Chaz's newsfeed. And one thing that dings you right away is scheduling them. Yeah. So I try to avoid that one. A tip real quick. You know, I saw Susan said to write an alarm. That's a great idea. Something I do at night sometimes is I journal about my day. Like if I don't, you know, I don't like to be playing trains with the kids, think of something, take the picture, and then sit there. And when I'm supposed to be playing trains, be doing a post. So I'll take the picture at night. I'll look through the pictures that I have, and then I'll journal in my notes on my phone. And those will be my posts that'll come through, like for days and days and days. And plus, I love the journaling. Not to mention, another thing that I love about Facebook is you can order your social media, like yearbook or whatever. And so then I have for years. I love that, like, and this is kind of my Pearl Heart, but I love that when I'm like 80, I'll be able to read through and see what we were doing, you know, in 2015. I think that's cool. So sometimes I get post happy, but that's just because I think it needs to show up in my, you know, at 80, I'll want to see that picture. See?
Go ahead, Cheri. She's digressing.
No, I'm not digressing. I just want them to understand the awesomeness. Okay, go on, girl.
Okay, and with the consistency, don't worry about it being something big. So like there's not one big thing I've done in 4 years, not one single big thing, but I've done every little thing every single day. So just, you know, use your BAT every single day, invite every single day, repeat every single day. It's nothing big. It's nothing fancy. You guys, I am the least tech savvy person in the entire world. So like you talked today about Audible Tribes, Summer, you might as well have been talking in Japanese to me because I don't know anything about that. So you don't have to know how to do stuff. You just have to do the little daily vitals every day. You don't have to know how to make graphics. You don't have to know how to set up Zooms. You don't have to know any of that. Just do the vitals every single day.
Yes, absolutely.
And Audible, I'm going to have you teach me Audible because I want to do the Tribes thing, but I don't know how to do it.
Oh, yeah. It's just an app on your phone.
So, and then the fifth and last one, I think we're doing good.
You are doing good.
5 minutes. And this one is the most important one to me, I think, is you have to believe in yourself. And here's why. So oh my gosh, for so long, I didn't believe in myself. And it showed. It showed in my wording because I wasn't using the scripts. It showed when I met people. It showed with my husband and my kids. People aren't always going to think what we do is the right way to live because they just don't have that open mind. They're 98%ers. You know, they don't get it. And that's okay. I have friends that don't get what I do. I have friends that make fun of me. I have one friend and if she says that every time she sees something like an infomercial, she'll think of me and she always goes, Cheri, Shakeology. I'm like, that's funny. That's okay. So I'll take offense. I don't get mad because she's not going where I'm going. She's not headed in my direction. She hates her job. She's not going on free trips. She doesn't have you guys in her life. So that's sorry for her. I'm going to keep going where I'm going. and I'm going to go this way. And so if people don't want to join me, they don't have to, but I'm going to believe in what I'm doing and not listen to them, because it's like that projector screen that Danny talked about. And if you listen to their opinions and they're in your mind, that's what's going to happen. That's going to come out. So, there are still people who don't believe in me. And there have been people over the last 6 months that didn't believe in me. And that's okay, because the Ruby part of me is going to show people, whoever they are, my husband or my kids or whoever, that I'm going to do this. And when you believe in yourself, you're going to stay afloat whenever life tries to sink you. And life's going to try to sink you sometimes.
Yeah. So, Cheri, I got a question. When you didn't believe in yourself, how did you start to believe in yourself? What did you do?
Honestly, it was just the last 9 months when I started, PD was everywhere.
So
everywhere.
That's the reprogramming, you guys. That is the reprogramming. What goes in here? Right before we got on this call, we were listening to Butch McCracken and Danny Johnson on a YouTube. Chad was getting a shower. I was doing my hair. This is what it looks like when I do it.
Yeah, and Butch McCracken is the office manager.
Yeah, he's the GM. And so what we put in here, what's up here comes out, like Cheri said. And so if you're struggling with, well, how do I don't believe in myself, what do I do? You have to reprogram your brain. And that means you have to be very careful about what goes in your brain, what you're watching, you know what I mean? What you're reading. Are you reading crap magazines and all that kind of stuff? Not that that stuff, can't ever make its way back in for fun on a vacation or something. I mean, it hasn't for me, but doesn't mean it can't. It just means at this time, you're not in a place for that. Do you know what I mean? You have to work on reprogramming your, so you can get a different thing coming out on your projector screen. Anything else to add to that, Cheri?
No.
Nope.
Just that I'm really thankful for the last going to Danny, and no, I'm not getting paid by Danny to say this. You got to go. I mean, the way my life's changed in 7 days.
That's crazy.
It's freaking incredible. I never would have guessed it. And it's 7 days. So I already bought my tickets for myself and my 17-year-old. I can't go to California, but Mariana said I can move to the next one. And so we're going to be there. I think it will help her. I know it will help her. And if I can change this much in 7 days, I'm going to be unstoppable going every 6 months.
Absolutely. You will. I want to touch on something real quick on step number 4, where she opened her doors daily, no matter what. And how it's not the big things, it's all the little things. It's almost like when people, let's take it to fitness, okay? When you do it's the people that are comfortable end up comfortable in their skin, and maintain it. It wasn't some big thing generally. It wasn't like the ultimate reset and then everything was okay and forever good. You know what I mean? It was the little decisions that they made every single day. When we try to do the big, the quick things, you know what I mean? That, that microwave fitness or microwave business, it's when it doesn't like survive the test of time. Does that make sense? It doesn't taste good. It doesn't feel good. It's icky. You know what I'm saying? And so, you can almost, like I said on the National Wake Up Call, you draw that, your time in this business starts when you actually start being honestly consistent. You know what I mean? Like in all the things that we've talked about. Like Cheri's time, in my opinion, started when she started using the scripts. Why? Because great that she had Success Club and all that kind of stuff, but if you don't know people's vision, if you haven't used the scripts, if you haven't said, do I have permission to remind you and all that kind of stuff, that bond didn't happen. People start canceling. Do you know what I mean? Not that I don't have some people cancel, but not very many. Like my retention rate is insane. You know what I mean? And that's because that time the scripts work, and they're not even mine necessarily. I just tweaked them for Beachbody wording from what I learned over the 4.5 years with Danny. And so you can kind of ask yourself this, as we kind of close it off tonight, since we're 1 minute over. I want you to ask yourself this: if you were the boss of yourself, like say you worked a business, whatever, let's say your business is called, Cheri Beasley Fitness, Summer Tucker Fitness, and you are the boss of it, and your duplicate, your clone was an employee of your business, would you have fired her or him? Come on, I want to see what you guys think on this side. Would you have fired your clone? You know what I mean? Think about that. Why? Why? You know what I mean? Why? Why? I don't know.
Because it's a lot easier to let yourself slide when it's not your business. When it's not you don't have person hold, even though you do have someone, but you don't have a person holding something over you. There's no carrot and there's no hammer. You know, so you really have to lead with your heart. You have to lead yourself with your heart, and that is difficult. That is difficult. And if you're not holding yourself accountable to these 5 steps that Cheri just basically laid it out, if you just do these, because I would imagine that success leaves clues. If we look back, Summer tossed her ego.
Oh yeah.
She followed a recipe. She was teachable. She was very consistent, even when there was nobody on these webinars. And she certainly believed in herself long before anybody else did, including me.
Yeah.
So these are all things that this is a good recipe, very simple thing to have.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't even, and it's duplicatable. You know what I mean? As your franchise is duplicatable, and that's a must for you to succeed at this business, is to be duplicatable. And the more duplicatable you are, the more lives that are touched and changed. It's a win-win. It's such a cool thing. So those are 2 questions I want you to really sit down and ask yourself if you would have fired yourself. And then 2, if your coaches did what you did today, would they have moved their business in a positive direction? Would their business be successful? You know what I mean? So really look at what you did today. Did you scroll Facebook? So if you scrolled Facebook and you had 3 coaches and all they did was scroll Facebook today, would they have been successful? You know what I mean? Did you design things today, or did you use the scripts today and get some good invites out? Do you know what I mean? Like because your team will ultimately duplicate you. Ultimately.
That's awesome, Susie.
And so those are things I always ask myself, like, would I fire myself? And would I, if you guys did what I did today, would you be successful? Would your business move in a positive direction? So those are 2 great things to go by. And when you see, Danny said some people really struggle when they become their own boss because there's no one hanging over them. So you have two choices to make. You can either think of it the way I explained it, is that you have your clone and this person has to hold up their end of the deal, or you have to understand that you do have a boss, you know what I mean? And he doesn't miss anything. So he knows how you're doing on your assignment and how you're doing on your job. And that's why, we reap certain harvests depending on what we're doing. Does that make sense? So I'm going to leave you guys with that. I love that, Elizabeth. You're 20 minutes away from finishing day 3. And I'm not fired, so I'm not fired today. High five. Yes, high five. You have to train yourself. If you're just starting, then I don't mean like you signed up, that doesn't count. I mean, if you just recently drew the line in the sand, say you drew the line in the sand yesterday on Monday after the National Wake Up Call, and you're like, you know what? Yes, I'm drawing the line in the sand. I want you to think of your next 30 to 60 days differently than how everybody else is telling you to think about it. Like, you have to get to Emerald, you have to get so many sales, you have to do this, they need your elite points. Anybody ever know that? All this kind of stuff that pushes us, success club, success club, success club. I'm not saying success club is not important. What I am saying is for you to think about your next 60 to 90 days differently. That you are a rookie in training. And this is what Danny talked about on Monday. Your first 30 days, you are a rookie. Allow yourself the grace to be a rookie, to learn, to fail forward, to do the Like a Boss training, to watch what your coach is doing and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? To watch your coach, how they're posting on social media, how Cheri is, how I am. You want to be a student instead of putting all that pressure on yourself right this second. Be a student and start to take steps in a positive direction. Does that make sense?
Because this business, what you're doing today, you will reap the harvest. Like, you may make $30 on a challenge pack or on a sale, but the real harvest is made in the relationship that comes a year or 2 years later, when that person has bought into you and is now trusting you and is repeating what you taught that person to do and now building a team. That's when the real, that's when you start picking the fruit that's there. It's not. So when Summer says, you look at the 30, 60 day and they're like, get the emerald, get the ruby, get the diamond, go, 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 go. That's what you're going to see. And that's what we're going to lead into Summit with. It's going to be all these shiny things, and people are going to be like, oh, I got to get this. And what you do is you force it, you force it, and you force it. You'll have success, and then it'll die.
Get discouraged.
And you'll get discouraged. Your teammates will get discouraged. So what like, not to put words in your mouth, but I think that's part of what she's saying is have this long-term. And she says always be here a year from now, but it's really be here forever. Okay, just this is who you are, and this is how you're helping people.
How exciting is that, you guys? I sit here and think about this for a second. If you drew the line in the sand and you became a student and you're like, yeah, I'll be here forever. My vision is worth fighting for. I want to do this. And you know, because I can guarantee you, if you drew the line in the sand, you said, I'm going to be here, paint your vision. I'm going to be teachable. I'm going to follow Summer's feet, Cheri's feet, and the other successful, people that I connect with. I'm going to put these things into action. And you knew 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now, your life would be the picture that you drew in your head. How freaking awesome is that? I mean, doesn't that excite the heck out of you guys? It does me. It does me. And that is that mindset is going to bleed into your downline. You know what I mean? So if you, like Danny says, the way to become a champion, this is a YouTube video, or it's one of her talk show thingies, but to be a champion, you have to have that I refuse to give up attitude. Like, I'm not going anywhere. I might fall a million times. And when you have that attitude, when you're talking to people, when they're making fun of you, you're like, yes, I'm going to fail. But my wife's worth fighting for, and I refuse to give up. I'm going to learn how to build this, how to help people, and how to make an impact, how to leave my tracks. Can you imagine if you said that to someone, what would they'd be like, okay, well, you're way more excited than I am. They watch you do that for a couple years. They're going to jump on your train because their train is headed towards a cliff. I guarantee you 98% of the population, they're headed towards a cliff. You know what I mean? So if yours is headed somewhere else and you stick with it in conviction, you're still here and you're still driving your train and you're making these changes, you're teachable, people are going to get on your train. And when they get on your train, you don't turn around and say, about flipping time. You know what I mean? You say, welcome on my train. I'm so excited to go on this journey with you. This is going to be awesome. Why are you here? What's your vision? What's important to you? Let's create it together. Do you see what I'm saying? Totally different mindset than, sometimes people finally come around and we're like, duh, should have been here 5 years ago, dumbass. You know what I mean? Like, that's our mindset. It's crazy. Instead of just being like, yes, they're here. They're here. So you guys, here's the deal. Your business, it's your, if you're just now starting, this is your rookie month. Okay. Become a sponge, learn, give it an hour to an hour and a half a day, then shut down, then come back the next day. Don't let it consume you. Don't let it become an idol. Be teachable. It's not a race. It's not a microwave. It's not like I have to work 5 hours today because I got to make this work. No, it will work. Don't grip it so tight that nothing can get in. Release. It will work. Start speaking life over it. When you say it will work, you don't feel like you have to work 20 hours a day. Do you know what I mean? You don't feel like this is too overwhelming. Oh my gosh, I'm never going to learn it. That's not your mindset. It will work. Show up for an hour and a half of focused work, then shut it down and go enjoy your life. People want a life that's fun. And if your life looks like it sucks because you're buried with your face on this computer all the time, you know what I mean? You're not doing anything fun. You're not hanging from the chandelier, nothing like that. Who wants it?
You're not getting your butt slapped. I mean, what's the point?
Do you guys see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? All in is not all day. Exactly, Susan. Yes, it is a mindset. It's a mindset. So draw the line in the sand right now. Take what Cheri said. They're simple. You could put them on something that hangs all over the house. Remember I said, it needs to become in your face. Toss your ego. Follow the recipe. Be teachable. Be consistent and believe in yourself. If all day long, like I posted that picture of Griffin running like this, right? He was excited with himself, right? I can do this. I can do this, right? And he did it. So if you did that every day, you're like, I believe in myself. I believe in myself. You will believe in yourself. You're reprogramming yourself. Does that make sense? All right. Now everybody go get your butt slapped. All right.
That's how we should greet people when they come into the summer.
But slap their butt?
Yeah, stuff.
No. I don't think that's good for.
No,
that's not the kind of tribe we're building here.
My bad.
If you're on a baseball field or a soccer field or
I thought
football,
the rule is if you just don't cup. You know, there's no cup.
That's something you guys made up.
Oh, okay.
The men made up to make it seem okay or something. So, all right, you guys have a good night. Thank you so much, you guys, for taking the time out to plug in. You guys need to protect that. That's a sprout. Okay, 107, I think, of you showed up live. Protect that sprout, because you could, I'm sure there's a million other things you could have been doing, but you cared enough about your vision, enough about your team, enough about where you're going to show up and to be teachable. And for that, you need to protect you, and you need to speak life over. You guys have a good night.
Great job, Cheri.
It's off to hang from the chandeliers. I'll talk
I'm
to
gonna
you.
go get my butt smacked.
Thank you, Cheri. You rocked it, girl.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.